My brother acted disabled for donations, so I helped him method act permanently. My brother Brandon has been faking paralysis for 3 years to scam our entire family. He's perfected the art of playing victim by collecting disability checks, manipulating sympathy, and destroying anyone who questions him. When I tried exposing his morning jogs and jumping jacks, he turned the tables and made me the villain. The first time I told our parents he was faking, Brandon threw himself from his wheelchair screaming, "I'd pushed him." I got grounded for 2 months. At 14, he started stealing my electronics and selling them, then cried to mom that I was denying a paralyzed boy entertainment. She made me share everything. By sophomore year, Brandon was forging doctor's notes to skip tests while partying at the lake. When I showed teachers photos of him jet skiing, he got me suspended for bullying a disabled student. In college, he sabotaged my scholarship by rolling into the dean's office claiming I'd been pocketing his disability allowance. I lost all my financial aid. Then he discovered workers' comp fraud, faking workplace accidents at temp jobs while doing CrossFit every morning. When I recorded him deadlifting, he got me fired by calling my boss about harassment of the handicapped. He even seduced my girlfriend Ginny by playing Wounded Dove, showed her edited texts where I called him a wheelchair-bound leech. She started dating him and posted couples photos from my apartment. Last year, he got me written out of Dad's will after staging a medical emergency during Thanksgiving, where I supposedly stole his medication that was in the trash. Each time, same pattern. Brandon's tears, Brandon's wheelchair, Brandon's victim performance. He truly made a mockery of people with real paralysis just to destroy my life. Brandon discovered medical insurance fraud through his disability lawyer contacts. One night, he staged a catastrophic fall down our basement stairs, complete with fake blood and planted evidence. When paramedics arrived, he was convulsing on the floor. My brother pushed me. He's been saying I'm faking, that he'd prove it to everyone. His performance was flawless, labored breathing, perfect muscle spasms, and tears streaming down his face. He showed them my journal with angry entries about him and texts where I'd vented to friends about his lies. Somehow, the evidence against me looked unquestionable, and the story of a vulnerable adult bullying his disabled brother looked too damning. As they cuffed me, I saw Brandon's foot twitch, and something snapped inside me. If he wanted to play paralyzed so bad, then I'd make sure he wouldn't have to pretend. I spent 3 days in holding before making bail, and that's when clarity hit me like ice water. Brandon's weakness wasn't his fake paralysis, it was his addiction to escalation. Every scenario had to be bigger, more dramatic, and more devastating than the last. That's when I remembered Liam, my buddy from community college who worked at a personal injury law firm. Liam had seen every insurance scam imaginable and knew exactly which cases paid out millions versus thousands. Over beers, I casually mentioned Brandon's latest stunt. Liam laughed and told me about a client who'd gotten $8 million for a construction site accident, about partial paralysis from a scaffolding collapse. The key is witnesses and height. Anything over 30 feet with multiple witnesses and insurance companies settle fast. I didn't tell him my plan. I just asked him to mention this story if he ever ran into Brandon at the gym where they both worked out. 2 weeks later, Liam texted me, "Your brother took the bait." Brandon had cornered him at the gym, doing pull-ups between fake groans about his paralyzed legs. When Liam mentioned the $8 million construction settlement, Brandon's eyes went wild. Within days, he was obsessed, scouting sites, studying accidents, and recruiting homeless witnesses with promises of $5,000 each. He picked a downtown construction site with 30 feet of scaffolding perfect for his show. The night was rainy and everything was super slippery. I watched from across the street as Brandon climbed in the dark. He had loosened bolts, weakened supports, and set his own stage perfectly. He needed it to look real, but safe. Hidden padding below would catch his controlled fall. 20 feet up, Brandon prepared to drop. But wet metal doesn't follow scripts. The scaffolding twisted, and instead of falling straight onto his padding, he went sideways. His body hit every beam on the way down. The crack of his spine echoed off the buildings. His witnesses ran without calling anyone. When paramedics arrived, Brandon was screaming, but his legs weren't moving. Actually weren't moving. At the hospital, he blamed me, said I'd sabotaged him. But security cameras clearly showed only him, spending 3 hours rigging his own accident. Police found his tools, his plans, and questioned the homeless witnesses who told them the truth. The fraud investigation exposed years of Brandon's lies, and prosecutors dropped my charges immediately. Brandon ended up with no insurance payout, just fraud charges and medical bills. The doctor delivered the punchline: complete paralysis from waist down. Brandon finally got the wheelchair he'd been using as a prop. He still performs for nurses and claims I orchestrated everything, but his audience is gone. Who wants to hear a sob story from a guy who paralyzed himself while trying to hustle the system?